Throughout my career, I always outperformed all of my male colleagues. Always. Sound like a pretty bold statement for a woman to make? Maybe, but it's true. The reason I outperformed my colleagues was because during the first week of my career, I figured out that the way they work wasn't very efficient or effective. So I pretty much abandoned everything that we've been taught and went in a new direction, one that worked for me as an engineer, but mainly worked for me as a woman. So in this video, I'm going to tell you how we can work our way. And I'm going to start with a story from early in my career that proves just how powerful our way is. As you may know, I began my career in the Air Force. Now, when you're a lowly second lieutenant, you're assigned every crappy project no one else wants. So I was tasked with training my squadron's team for Strategic Air Command's missile combat competition. To the SAC leadership, this competition was a huge deal. Wing commanders dreamed of winning the Blanchard Trophy, so they selected teams of their very best personnel, hoping to be named the best of the best. However, in my squadron, this competition was considered a complete waste of time. Out of all the possible assignments, this was the worst of the worst. If that wasn't bad enough, our squadron's task was to tear down, inspect, maintain, and repair the starter to the Minuteman missile's backup generator. Now, did I know anything about how to do this task? No. I didn't take shop class in high school, and nothing in my college civil engineering courses covered this. I was relying on my team and their technical expertise. However, given my squadron's attitude, do you think I got the best, most experienced technicians in the shop? Hell no. I got the two least experienced airmen who were even younger and greener than me. To compete, they needed their 5-level skills. The assigned man passed his 5-level test 2 months earlier, and the assigned woman passed her test 1 month earlier. I asked them if they knew how to do the task, and they said no. We were in serious trouble, and the best we could do was fumble around. I constantly asked for help, and a retiring master sergeant was assigned to help us, but he didn't show up. But the worst part of our situation was how we were constantly mocked. Every day we were told, "You're wasting time. There's real work to do. And you're going to lose anyway." I also got my first lessons in office politics and backstabbing. It was demoralizing. Given all that we were dealing with, we all wanted to quit. But then on the other hand, we didn't want to prove all those right. I needed to figure this out and do something different. Then one day I was at a base event and heard someone joking about how SAC is so anal retentive it has a checklist for everything. I thought, does SAC have a checklist for how to do our task? So I went to the technical orders library, found the TO for the starter, and began to read. It wasn't a checklist, but it was a detailed description of how to do our task. It gave me the expertise our team didn't have. I turned that description into a process flowchart detailing the order to tear down the starter, inspect the parts, do the maintenance on the parts, determine if a repair was needed, and how to do the repair. I knew that the competition had their own best process, and they would judge us against their standard. Since I used the TO, I hoped our process was pretty close to theirs. Well, at least close enough so we made a good showing and didn't embarrass ourselves. When my team came in to train, I was fired up, and I gave them a choice. I told them that I was willing to go down to the squadron commander, tell him we quit, and let him explain to the higher-ups why they didn't have a team. Or we could train on the process I just figured out and show all of those they were wrong about us and that they can take everything that they said and shove it. Well, my team decided to prove we're wrong about us. Over the next few weeks, we trained and improved our process. Word got out that we weren't fumbling around anymore and that we actually looked like we knew what we were doing. Even our trainer showed up. My team went off to the competition. They were immediately laughed at. Not only did they have the only woman in the competition, they were 12 years younger than the next most junior competitor. The other competitors had decades of experience, and one of my airmen was competing against his tech school instructor. They were quickly named the kindergartners, and word spread faster than wildfire that a base dare show up to compete among the best of the best with children. And as the story goes, that night, Sinksack himself called our wing commander and asked him if he took his career seriously, because no serious commander would show up with kindergartners. I expected my team to do well unless, because they were so young, they got nervous. So after they competed, I asked them how they thought they did, and they calmly said they thought they did okay. No, they weren't nervous, and no, they didn't struggle with anything. For me, it was a huge sigh of relief, and I let myself think, we could be one of the better performing teams. The night of the awards ceremony, the base held a big party. I was the only person from my squadron to show up, which pretty much sums up the total and complete lack of support we had. As the results were phoned in, there was disappointment as other base teams lost. Finally, it was time for my team's category. Immediately, everyone moved away from me. They didn't want my impending failure to rub off and damage their careers too. They announced that the winning team had the highest score in this year's competition and the second highest score in the history of the competition. And the winner was my team. In the stunned, dead silence, the only sound was me yelling, "Yeah, they did it!" All through the night, phones rang all over the Air Force, spreading the word that the kindergartners won. And everyone wondered, how did that happen? How did they beat the best, most experienced people? That's not supposed to happen. It's not the way the world works. But it is the way the world works. What's wrong is the way the male-dominated workplace wants us to believe the world works. Since our workplaces are designed by men, they function through male traits, male thinking, and male actions. I call this the blue zone. In the blue zone, the dominant trait is autonomy, which allows men to think of themselves as individuals. Using their linear perspective, men rank themselves based on their expertise and their abilities to overcome challenges, endure stress, and get things done in order to determine who is the best of the best. Therefore, we're taught that it takes great men to make great things happen. This creates our belief in the power of the individual. I've already published a video, Understanding the Power of the Individual. Please watch it so you understand how it works and how deeply embedded it is into our culture. We treat it as an absolute fact, and we never question if there's a better way to get things done. The power of the individual is why when my team showed up to the competition, everyone laughed. Since they were so young, they didn't have the power of the individual, so everyone assumed they had no chance of winning. After our win, since everyone was so vested in the power of the individual, they attributed the win to me. And while that was great for my career, it's not what happened. I didn't believe in the power of the individual because in my engineering program, I learned that to have the best outcome, having the best people is good, but having the best process is better. I believed in the power of systems thinking. Because I focus on processes and systems, I never cared that I wasn't assigned to work with my workplace's A-team. By using systems thinking, my teams and I developed and improved the processes we use to do our work. We turned our team into outstanding performers and revealed how even the supposedly best performers could do a lot better. Today, workplaces that rely on having the best people are outdated. When we rely on individual experience and expertise, we allow everyone to work independently and do their job the way that works best for them. In the olden days, when everyone worked by themselves, that was acceptable. But that's not how we work today. In today's workplace, no one works independently. We all rely on other people to do their job right so we can do our job right and then let other people do their job right. We all work as part of a larger process. Therefore, everyone's experience and expertise has to work together in unison and harmony. We've all experienced the frustration of not being able to do our job right because somebody else didn't do their job right. Our blue zone and power of the individual indoctrination tells us to blame the other person. But that's not right. In reality, if there's a problem, only 15% of the time it's due to the person. 85% of the time it's due to the process the person uses to do their job. Most process problems are due to poor integration, how the process requires one person to do their work and then impacts the next person's ability to do their work. To fix integration problems requires communication and interacting with our colleagues so we understand their job, which is exactly what men's blue zone autonomy and individualism isn't good at. But who is good at integration? Oh, that would be us. It's our female trait that we're told has very little value in the workplace. You've probably heard that when people are given a job, men are praised because they immediately take off into action, while women form relationships first because we're afraid to act. However, it's our relationship building that's critical to systems thinking and has been missing from our blue zone workplaces. So when we assert our trait, we provide the missing ingredient critical to creating efficient and effective process-driven workplaces. To always outperform all of our male colleagues, we focus on processes, not people. Now I can hear some of you reacting, what about the people? People need to know we care about them. That's how we retain the best people. But that's your blue zone conditioning speaking. We're taught that if we care about people, we give them certificates and awards, so we then keep them motivated so they continue to work hard and get more done. However, what really frustrates and stresses out people is that they have to work so hard to get their job done. If we talk to people, they'll tell us that if we genuinely cared about them, if we really wanted to get more done, then we would get involved and fix their process problems. To fix our processes, we must interact with our colleagues and listen to them as they express their ideas and solutions. As we work together to fix the problems, we create teamwork, synergy, and mutual respect. When people can do their job easily and do it well, they feel good about their job and about themselves. And not so amazingly, most of our people problems also disappear. As women, we need real advantages in the workplace because our workplaces function in the blue zone, and therefore they favor and benefit men. So to level the playing field, we need to go in a different direction, one that gives us the opportunity to become a top performer. That's what systems thinking does. And while the success it brings us feels wonderful, I really think women will enjoy systems thinking because it's incredibly rewarding on a personal level. We get to make a real positive impact on our workplace culture and employee empowerment. We finally get to experience our power as a woman. This is Dot Callahan asking you to help me turn the woman in the room into the women in the room. Sign up for my newsletter, subscribe to my YouTube channel, or find the Woman in the Room on Facebook. It's up to you. Just keep watching and sharing my videos. To get advice from a woman who's been there, dealt with that, and knows what works.